evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning into this week's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. My name is Tonchi Prusak. I'm your host for tonight, as I am every Monday night, and tonight it's episode 193, believe it or not, our 17th episode for the year. Now, right from the outset, we got to say, unfortunately, we've only got enough funding for 20 episodes so far. So that's another 3 episodes after tonight. So if you are able to, in any way, shape, or form, help us out by sponsoring this program. If you're a club out there, get in touch with us and do a club-themed episode. Or if you're a small business, send us a private message. Email us at communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. Or if you do know me personally, get in touch with me because, as I said, at the moment, after tonight, we've only got 3 episodes to go if we're unable to get any more sponsors this year. Now, speaking of tonight's show, it's going to be an absolute doozy. It's a huge show tonight, massive show lined up for you. We've got some absolutely fantastic guests. We'll be catching up with Sean Munn. Everyone knows Sean around Geelong football's community circles. He's a teacher and a soccer coach at Western Heights Secondary College in Hamlin Heights. And last week they had some incredible, I dare say, unprecedented success on the pitch. That is the soccer program there. And remember, Western Heights College actually runs a soccer program as part of their normal curriculum. So we'll be catching up with Sean. He's got a lot to talk to us about some of the big things happening there at Western Heights Secondary College. We've got a true superstar both on and off the park who's going to be joining us also a little bit later on. His name's Andrew Naboot. Everyone knows him. Are you a Victory supporter? Are you a Newcastle Jets supporter? Are you currently a Melbourne City supporter? Well, Andrew, he's also a former Socceroo to boot, pardon the pun. And he'll be joining us a little bit later on in the program. He'll be talking to us about his special guest stint as a coach at this week's Curva Coaching Clinics. So we've got some phenomenal opportunities this week for some of the youngsters around the region to get involved and experience some world-class skill development, confidence building, fun, friendships, and a lot of football as well. So the Curva Soccer Holiday Camps are currently being run. So today was the first day, and I'm told there was some very, very good numbers. Tomorrow and on Wednesday as well, and Andrew will be appearing on Wednesday. That's the Geelong camps. Next week, we've got Torquay on the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th of July. And bookings can be made by visiting curva.com.au, or you can ring 0474 739 4514. More information from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And in addition to that, if you are a goalkeeper, well, you're going to want to hear about this on Friday week. So that's July the 10th. Another former Socceroo, Mitch Langerak, who's got some connections to the region around this area. He will be one of the coaches at the exclusive goalkeeper camp as well. So that's going to be down at Banyul Warri Reserve in Torquay. So some amazing things happening as far as holiday soccer programs here in Geelong. We're going to take a short break. When we return, it's time for the news desk. And after that, a surprise, a big surprise, and personally, a major announcement. Stay tuned for that. Yes, and we start this week's program, or this week's news desk, with a shameless plug. I dare say I have become an author. I'd sound like saying I've just given birth to a child. I've become a father. No, I've actually become an author. A novel, The Final Whistle, A Footballer's Legacy, has just been released and is available now on Amazon and booksby.com. Dreams don't come true unless you first experienced a nightmare. And the plot of the story is Marco was a gifted young footballer from Melbourne's western suburbs who harboured an extraordinary dream to become a professional footballer in the top leagues of Europe. You're able to purchase this book at amazon.com.au and order it today. You'll probably get it by Thursday. That's how unbelievably quick Amazon is. And you can also go to books.by/Tonchi Prusak as well. That's where you'll be able to get that. The details are all there on your screen now at amazon.com.au or books.by/Tonchi Prusak. If I ask you to go to any one of them in particular, it's the books.by. You don't make much money on these books, let me tell you, but at least with these ones, there's a little bit of a better kicker, if you like, or commission. So that's that. Alrighty, enough of the shameless personal plug, and please, I do implore you, if you can, go out and get the book. Makes for some interesting reading, exciting reading, enjoyable reading, but also it might, particularly if you're a young man, 15 to 24, who doesn't really read. The statistics are out that 10% of young men aged between 15 and 24 regularly read. Hopefully this might actually might inspire you to pick up a book or to read a little bit more. But anyway, let's move on to news. In State League action on the weekend, we'll go straight into the State League because there was no Victorian Premier League women's or Victorian Premier League men's played over the weekend. Geelong defeated Pascoe Vale, and in a thrilling contest, the Lions defeated Pascoe Vale 2-1 at Winslow Park. Patrick Ayol both and Dylan Moore both scoring on for the Lions last Saturday night. In State League 2, wasn't the best of weekends for our Geelong-based teams. Surf Coast travelled to Mill Park, came back with a point, courtesy of a James Alexander goal. It was 1-1 there. Albion Rovers defeated Corio 3-0, and the Western Eagles defeated Geelong Rangers by the same scoreline. Bell Park in State League 4 travelled to Moonee Ponds United, and the All Whites came back home with all 3 points in tow. Nick Musso scoring a brace, and he has been in fine form. Gabrielle Mage also getting on the scorer sheet there as well. Over the page in State League 5, Deakin Ducks drew with Doreen United. That should be 2-2, not 1-2, 2-2. Sam Wyeth once again getting on the score sheet, and James Jacoby doing extremely well, scoring a goal there as well. Keilor Wolves defeated a rejuvenated Larry United. Larry United, firmly anchored to the bottom, came up against the Keilor Wolves, who were second, or are second, and really took it to the home side, and for a few missed opportunities could possibly have drawn or even defeated the Wolves. 3-2, the Keilor Wolves running out winners. Joshua Bertucci and Oliver Prusak scoring a goal. Yes, that's a familiar surname. Another shameless plug out to my nephew, who scored his first senior goal last week for Larry United. Well done, Ollie. In State League 6 action, well, last week we had Finn Murphy on the show after he scored 4 goals, and the young man has followed it up with a hat-trick this week against the top team, Hume Bulls. 3-1 win for Bowen. Excellent result, incredible result, and what a fine individual performance by Murphy, scoring a hat-trick. I think that takes his tally up to 17 goals for the season. Incredible. And finally, Ocean Grove, they had their game washed out on the weekend, so that is going to be rescheduled to the 8th of August. Let's have a look at the fixtures for this weekend. Saturday, July the 4th. It's round 14 already. Can you believe that? Round 14. In State League 1 action, it's the second last placed Yarraville Glory hosts top team Geelong at McIver Reserve on Saturday evening. So if you're not doing anything, head down the highway and taking this game. Good luck to Geelong in this game. Hopefully they can maintain their top spot. In State 2, all the Geelong teams are at home. Rangers, who've dropped down to second last position, they take on third last place Whittlesea Rangers up at Myers Reserve at 3 p.m. Cryer taking on seventh place Mill Park at Hume Reserve at 3 p.m. And then Surf Coast taking on Top Dog FC Strathmore at Banyul Warri Reserve. That game at 5 p.m. Just across town at the Bell Park Sports Club in Batesford, Bell Park taking on top team West Preston in a top versus second clash. That should be an absolute top clash, top contest. Dare I say, I'm tipping that to be the match of the season, certainly in State League 4. Hopefully a big crowd and hopefully a win for our side, Bell Park. We go over the page to State League 5 action, where Heidelberg Stars taking on our Deakin Ducks, who drop a couple of spots after the draw on the weekend. Important game for the Ducks at Cartledge Reserve there, kicking off at 3 p.m. And Lara United taking on Darebin United. Now that should be Lara Recreation Reserve at 3 p.m, not Green Gully Reserve. Apologies, the Gremlins once again getting there. And look at this for a State League 6 showdown. The match of the season in State League 6. Ocean Grove in 6th position, hosting 4th placed Barwon. And that game at Shell Road Reserve kicking off at 3 p.m. Now, there was a game in the Victorian Women's State League competition. In State League 1, Uni Hill Eagles defeated North Geelong Warriors 3-0. And this Sunday in round 9 action, Sydenham Park, which is currently on the bottom, they are yet to record a win. They host North Geelong, currently in 8th spot. Hasn't been a good year for the Warriors. Hopefully this can be their 3rd win of the season. A much-needed win at that. Now, there were no games played in Victorian Premier League or Victorian Premier League Women's, so let's recap what happened last week. Manningham United lost to the Warriors 2-3. Cassian Angel, Patrick Wall and Angus Chapman all getting on the score sheet. Now, this weekend, North Geelong Warriors taking on Port Melbourne, bottom side Port Melbourne. Might be an easy game on paper, but it is nothing of the sorts, and certainly Stuart Begg will be sure that his players do not underestimate the opponents here. The Warriors currently in 6th position. Game in hand, they're on 27 points, but the Port Melbourne have had a dreadful season and they've only managed to accumulate 9 points over 18 games and sees them in 14th position. Galaxy have been doing extremely well in recent weeks. They defeated Melbourne Uni 4-0 last weekend, and this week after a weekend off. This weekend, or last weekend, just happened. They've got a very important game against Eltham Redbacks, top team Eltham Redbacks. This game on Saturday at 3 p.m. And should Galaxy return with the 3 points, well, they will jump over Eltham Redbacks, and depending on the other results, they could end up in top spot. What an achievement that would be. Men's Division 1 locally, round 5 results. Let's whip through these. Bell Park defeated Armstrong United 3-0. Deakin Ducks defeated FC Leopold 5-0. High scoring draw between Geelong Rangers and Surf Coast up at Myers Reserve 3-3. And last but not least, Golden Plains defeated Barwon 4-0 at Grovedale Reserve. Now, this weekend is a catch-up round. There are 2 games to be played on Friday night. FC Leopold taking on Surf Coast. And on Sunday, Armstrong United and Barwon Soccer Club do battle out at Armstrong United. In the women's competition, there were some big scores here. Bell Park defeated Ocean Grove 5-3 in a 8-goal thriller. Surf Coast defeated Armstrong United 5-1 up in Torquay. Lara United hammered Geelong Rangers 15-0. And in a really closely fought contest, Deakin Ducks defeated Bowen 3-2 at Warm Ponds. Now, no games this week, and obviously, as we said, catch-up round. Instead, we've got 4 games to be played the following weekend on Saturday, the 11th of July. Bowen at home to Bell Park, Rangers at home to Armstrong United, Ducks taking on the Coasters, and Ocean Grove at home to Lara United. Football Victoria Geelong earlier today put up a post saying, have you caught World Cup fever? And there are still chances to play if you're considering playing or if you'd like to play and you haven't. It applies to juniors in this particular instance. Armstrong United Football Club, they're still looking for players in the under-13 girls. Ballerine Sharks are looking for players, 1 more player in under-7s, 1 more in the under-9s, and 2 in the under-11s for the girls. In the boys, 2 under-8 players, 3 under-9s, and 1 under-15. Corio Bay Cobras are looking for 2 girls in the under-13 team and 3 senior women's players as well. And North Geelong Warriors, they're looking for 3 more under-15 boys as well. That's for the community, not for the junior NPL. Speaking of juniors, Geelong Rangers, as far as I know, are still looking for a youth operations coordinator, and all the information is there. It is a paid position, and remuneration will be negotiable based on the successful applicant's skills, qualifications, and previous experience. So if you are interested, closes tomorrow. In fact, expressions of interest close on the 30th of June. The contact email is youthoperations@geelongrangersfc.com or secretary@geelongrangersfc.com, and you can email them for more information. That pretty much brings us to the end of the news desk. Once again, folks, I do implore you, apart from going out and buying my book, of course, but we do need sponsors. At the moment, we've got 3 more episodes after this episode to take us through to episode 20. But we would love to see out the season with a full round of episodes, and that is 25 episodes. So we are looking for more sponsors to help us bring those final 5 episodes to you in 2026. Rightio, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, it's time for our first guest, and we'll be speaking to teacher and coach at Western Heights Secondary College, Sean Mann. Don't go away, folks. Service, food and coffee, well-stocked produce and groceries at very reasonable prices. 5 stars for the coffee served, beautifully made latte, everything you need in this wonderful little shop. Staff are always friendly and helpful, an absolute treasure to the community. These are just some of the glowing comments of praise by both regular and first-time customers of the iconic Birregurra General Store. The De Cunto family, well known in Geelong football circles, has run the iconic Country General Store since 2020, and apart from providing top quality service, they, along with their extremely pleasant and friendly staff, make sure that everything you could possibly need is well stocked and always available. Located at 59 to 61 Main Street in Birregurra and open all 7 days a week, the Birregurra General Store is open from 6 a.m. each weekday and 7 a.m. on weekends. If in Birregurra, pop in and say hello to Steve and Angus. And now it's time for our first guest tonight. I suppose we're in the school holidays, and this is a bit of a special school holiday edition of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. And to talk about something very school related, our next guest has been part of the soccer program at Western Heights Secondary College since its inception 4 years ago. And just last week, the school had some incredible success against some Melbourne-based schools, and some Melbourne-based schools that have been, well, involved in the soccer game or the soccer program at their schools for a lot longer than Western Heights has. But to tell us all about the successes and the program itself, teacher, coach, and he's certainly well known around the Geelong football community, Sean Mann. How are you, Sean?
Yeah, good, Tonchi. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thank you. It's school holidays, so I guess technically you're on holidays yourself. But I guess there's never when football's involved, particularly over the winter, there's never a break, is there?
No, mate, there isn't. As you know, there's never an off switch when it comes to football. It's always go, go, go.
Oh, goodness me, especially now amidst the World Cup, that's for sure. We can't possibly have any break, that's for sure. But let's talk about something a little bit more local, and we'll talk about first of all. Let's talk about the soccer program itself at Western Heights College. Now, last week, mate, you had a huge success, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of games, a lot of tournaments, sort of over this term, which has been great for our kids. So we played in on Monday, and a big week for the kids as well. Let me say that
Yeah,
first.
let's start with Monday. Let's
Yeah,
let's start chronologically, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. So Monday because we're a victory school, we get invited to the Melbourne Victory Cup every year. So this term it was up to our year sevens and eights, and we took I think 40 students up to the tournament on Monday. A combination of year sevens and eights. Our girls won that one, which was really great for us in the and year 8 team, I would say. And then the boys, we had 2 teams in the boys, and sorry, 2 teams in the girls, 2 teams in the boys. And it's quite funny. Our boys played off in the quarterfinals against each other.
Oh wow! Oh
So
gosh!
it was a bit of fun there. Joey and I didn't know who to coach or what to do, so we kind of just stood back and let them play. It went down to penalties, so it just shows where we are as a school. And then, one of the boys' teams went on to the final. Unfortunately, lost in the final to Rowville.
Now they're a pretty well-renowned school, aren't they? They've had a soccer program for quite a few
Yeah,
years.
they have. They've had it, I think, I would say 10 years plus.
Wow.
Well, I know, if not longer. So they beat us in the final on a penalty shootout. But our girls won, which was great as well. They won 1-0, so they beat Rowville in the final 1-0, which is good. And then Tuesday we had a year 8 Western Metro region soccer tournament.
So that's part of the School Sports Victoria.
Yeah, that's part of our
offering,
SSV.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, that's part of the SSV. So we took our year 8s on Tuesday, and both boys and girls got through there, which is amazing. I think our girls, we played Maribyrnong in the final, beat them 1-0 in a tight contest. And the boys.
Now sorry to cut you off. Now that's another school that's really highly renowned, isn't it? Maribyrnong College. They've offered the soccer program, and it's quite prestigious, isn't it? As in terms of quality. So not only to be very competitive against schools like Rowville, like Maribyrnong. I know Keel or Downs College is another one that has been now for almost 15 years.
Yep.
But to be actually doing so well, has that surprised you? How much in 4 years the soccer program here at Western Heights College has taken off and improved?
I wouldn't say it surprises me. We run a really top program at Western Heights there in the soccer through Joey. Joey Dillitzer there. He runs a program, or we run a program that's high level, and we bring in coaches that are also high level, just to give back to the kids, and ultimately they take on everything that we say and they put it into practice when we come to these tournaments.
Yeah, now we'll talk a little bit more about the program because it's quite an interesting one. I know we've had Joey on the program before. You've been on the program before, touching on it as well.
Yep.
But let's talk about these tournaments that were held last week, and back to the School Sports Western Metro tournament. Yep. We've got a couple of teams have done really well, and tell us a bit more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it happens in stages. So we play in the Geelong region first, or the Bellarine Barwon division. You win that, you go into the next stage, which is the Western Metro region.
Yep.
And then teams that win that head into the state finals. So, Tuesday we had our both year 8 boys and girls go through to the finals. And then Wednesday I took our girls and we got through to the final as well. And the boys narrowly lost in the group stage, but on goal difference. So they were, I believe, 2 goals short of making the final.
Wow.
So they didn't actually lose a game that day. They just didn't quite score enough goals, which, we'll take that one on the chin and we'll move on. But yeah, the state finals will be in early September, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a bit of time for those. A few more tournaments in between there as well.
Now, it must also be said that Western Heights isn't the only school that's doing well here in Geelong. I know St Joseph's College in the private school sector also did very well. I'm not sure if it was their year 9s or year 10s did extraordinarily well. Recently, their senior team took it out last year. So there's a lot of quality kids through the school system happening here. And now this culminated in both the girls and the boys teams getting to the final of the very, very prestigious Bill Turner Cup, which has been running for a long, long time, and originally I think started in New South Wales, mate. Now, tell us about the Bill Turner Cup and Western Heights' success there.
Yeah, so Bill Turner Cup is a cup that's sort of run across I would say more the east coast of Australia,
Mm-hmm.
from Queensland, New South Wales, and ourselves in Victoria, where I think this year there was over 1,000 schools involved.
And that's more than the Australia Cup, goodness me.
Yeah. So, and then you just sort of, you go into a bit of it's pretty much playoffs. So if you lose a game, you're out sort of thing. And then you just work your way through. So we're lucky enough to play in both Victorian finals for the boys and girls this year. Our boys had a great result on Thursday against Maribyrnong College, where we won 6-0, which was amazing for us. And then on Friday, our girls narrowly lost in extra time, or golden goal as they call it, on Friday, to Maribyrnong College away. So it's a massive tournament. The boys will now head to Albury to play against the winners of Country New South Wales. Country New South Wales and Country Victoria will go to Albury, play in the round of 16, if you like, we want to call it. And then if we win that, we sort of go through back to Albury again to play in the quarterfinals.
Wow. Goodness me. It's going to be a big second half of the year, that's for sure. And it must be, I mean, for the kids themselves, it must be such a thrill. I know speaking to some of the kids personally who I know, beating a team like Maribyrnong, a school like Maribyrnong, who are really highly renowned. We reiterate that, and to do it so well. The girls unfortunately didn't do well in the sense they didn't win, but they got there. But the girls also had players from year 7 and 8 competing as well. So what an achievement that is.
Oh, it was excellent. I was speaking to Joey after the game, and the girls and himself and Kate were pretty devastated, to lose the way they did. But look, it's all part of the game, part of the learning. They'll grow from this as players, and we'll just go to the next. Hopefully, play again next year and go again.
And go one better. Now, let's talk about the girls' program for a minute, because that's really expanded dramatically, numbers-wise, enrollment-wise, but also the quality of some of the players. Now, obviously, over the course of 4 years, I guess in those early years, it was until, I suppose, parents could see what the product was, until the kids themselves could see what the product was. It was probably hard to kind of get people to buy into the vision. But now that people can see it, I'm hearing there are kids from St. Joseph's and Sacred Heart and Geelong College and Geelong Grammar actually coming to Western Heights College because of the soccer program.
Yep.
But just speaking exclusively about the girls program, you must be thrilled with the way that's been developing as well over the years.
Yeah, girls have been excellent. If we're just talking about the girls alone, they've played in so many tournaments, had so many wins, as well as losses. We take those losses very, very seriously, and we use them as learning. We had, I can't remember. I think we had altogether, including boys and girls this year, 15 players go to the Nationals.
Wow.
Mix, I think it was 7 boys and 8 girls, or vice versa. And some really standout players in there that went, just to name a few, like Michaela Witt, Evie Stosic, Isabel Petsis, those girls there, and a whole bunch of others that went as well to the tournament and were excellent. And they did really well, performed really well at Nationals, which then, probably helps us a little bit as well, because when we play in our tournaments, we know that they're already at a good level.
Yeah.
We just sort of tinker with a few things here and there and help them out and just try and make them a little bit better each day.
Yeah. Now you mentioned... Now, you mentioned a young lass, Evie Stosic, who also hails from North Geelong Warriors, who's now at the Football Victoria Academy. But young Evie, look at that. Just last week, she was called into a 27-player squad ahead of the 2027 Asia Under-17 Women's Asian Cup for the Junior Matildas. What an achievement that is! I mean, obviously, it's not yet done and dusted, but look, when you're called into that 27-player squad, chances are you're going to end up there. And Evie's only, I think, 14, 15 or something like that at the moment.
14, yep.
Yeah,
It's,
incredible. That is another recognition. Yeah, that's another extraordinary recognition, both for the school and for the club, and you're part of that club, North Geelong Warriors, but also for the region as well.
Yeah, look, Evie's brilliant. She came in year 7. Already at a great standard. I think we've just helped her along that journey. She does a lot of it herself. She puts a lot of hard work in sort of outside of school and playing for sort of NTC there. And sort of now it's just coming about that the accolades are coming for her, and she's done amazingly to get into the squad, or the 2027 player squad this time round, and hopefully she can go again and make the actual team.
Mm-hmm.
It's for her. It's not her first international sort of duties that she's done. Last year she was lucky enough as well to go to an under-15 Croatia national team. Sort of
correct. Yes. So at such a young age, torn between two countries, or to have two countries going for you, that's quite an achievement. Yeah, you're absolutely right there.
So she's already at a young age of 15. She's turning into a sort of a true professional already. This is the way she goes about her day-to-day life in football, as well as school. So hats off to her and her family. They've obviously helped her along the journey, and we're just as school, we're a part of that journey, which we're lucky. And fingers crossed she can perform well now for Mike Cooper there, and she can get the big tick that she wants to go to the under-17s.
Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't that be fantastic for the young lass in question? Now, mate, like a lot of soccer people, like a lot of football people in Geelong, we wear multiple caps. We're involved at club level. We're involved in different things, and sometimes you have to stop yourself and say, "Hang on a sec, which cap am I wearing?" But you've got, I guess, you're an assistant coach there at North Geelong Warriors. And you have been a coach there for many, many years. And a lot of the players, a lot of your students that you see during the week, boys and girls, you'll see on the weekends at the club or around the ground. Now, I guess that's a nice thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure. But this is something we were chatting off air. You're really struck by just the respect, by the level of respect, by just the politeness and courteousness of these kids outside of school hours. And back in the day, if we see our teacher outside of class, you give him the raspberry and what you're not. You love to. You're all in good nature, of course.
Yes.
But how do you kind of see that outside of school, these kids, how they behave, how they hold themselves up? I'm talking about the soccer kids in particular.
Oh, look, they're excellent. As you said, we wear lots of different hats when it comes to football, and not only at North Geelong, but we've got players at Geelong as well, and Geelong Rangers, and sort of any time you go to a football ground, and you've got a high chance of seeing some of our kids.
Yep.
And they're always, great kids, well respected, and they are well mannered, and they all play the game to a high spec. Was lucky enough early on in the year to watch the Geelong derby in the juniors across the board there with the boys, and watching the under-13s was great because it was like just having another school session, because between both squads there was I think 9 or 10 players, across both teams. And it was great to watch because the boys fought hard. For that 60 minutes they played hard, they played tough. Both teams went at it. And I think that the game ended in, I think it was 2-2. But then what was great to see was after the game, they were all just friends again.
And mate, look, I know Western Heights. I know that the teachers there, the administrators, have often said that in the past the school had a really bad reputation, and one of the things about cleaning up its reputation was the inclusion, I guess, of the sports program. But look, from what I'm hearing, like the soccer kids themselves are such good role models. not just for themselves, their clubs or their families, but for the sport as well. And I think what you just said there is just a credit to the young kids there. And look, a credit to the school for providing a program that not only gives these kids an outlet for football, for their, we're talking more elite program caliber kids.
Yeah.
But also, it's teach them good character as well. And I think that's the most important thing that we can expect of young kids if we're mentors to them, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Look, across the board, within our sort of, we're a specialist sports program, so we're SSP, and we hold a high standard across all sports. And with high standard comes high expectations, not just on the kids, but on us as coaches as well. So across all sports, we all work at a level that's, sort of, we try and be as professional as we can within the realms of a school. We're really lucky with across all the sports. We've got some great people, great professionals working at the school. So that we have to hold high standards. If we don't hold the standards high, then the kids can get a little bit unruly sometimes, and we don't want that at all. But with that, the kids know the standards. They know that they can't mess around. And don't get me wrong, we're not really strict to the point where you're not allowed to have a laugh and a joke.
Yeah.
School should be enjoyable as well. But the kids know the standards. They know what they need to do when they turn up to train. They know what's required when we go away to play in tournaments. They know what's required in the classroom as well. So we make sure that the standard we hold not just on the pitch, but it's also upheld in the classroom as well.
Yeah. Mate, that's fantastic to hear. Keep up the good work. Obviously yourself, Joey, and the rest of the teachers and coaches there at Western Heights College are doing a fantastic job, and the proof is certainly in the pudding. Yeah. Well done on the successes, and I'm sure there's going to be even more successes come term 3.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Good on you. Sean Mann, a lovely gentleman to speak to. He's involved in so many things. His family's involved in so many different clubs as well, and that's the nature of our football family here in Geelong. Folks, we're going to take a short break. When we return, as part of the school holiday program, I guess, we've got a very, very special guest, someone who's going to be, a very, very high-profile guest at the Curva Coaching Clinic this week and next week here in Geelong. We're talking about Melbourne City player and former Socceroo, Andrew Nabbout. He'll be joining us straight after this break.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, this very special school holiday edition. All the kids are at home, and no doubt they're already starting to get bored. No doubt a lot of them aren't, because quite a fair few of them are involved with the Curva Holiday Camp, and Curva Coaching Geelong is a very big sponsor and very big supporter of our show. But it all kicked off earlier today in Geelong, so it's going to continue tomorrow and on Wednesday as well. And then next week we're going to be taking the roadshow on to Torquay for the 7th, 8th and 9th of July. Now, a very special guest who's going to be at the Curva Coaching Camp on Wednesday is our next guest, a man who is very well known to the football community in Australia, former Socceroo. He's a former Melbourne Victory player, Newcastle Jets player as well, and currently with Melbourne City. Very big welcome to Andrew Nabbout. How are you, Andrew?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. School holidays, the bane of every parent's life, how they keep their kids entertained. But For some, it's going to be a very, very special school holidays, those involved with the Curva Coaching Geelong holiday clinics. And your mate going to make the trek from all the way from the Mornington Peninsula to visit us over here. You're going to be part of the upcoming camps on this Wednesday. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Ado's a really good friend of mine. We played together for a few years at Victory, and he was a really good mentor and a great friend, like I said. So when he reached out to me, I was more than happy to come across. I'll put my car on the ferry, bring my kids over, and make the trek across the bay and make a day out of it in Geelong.
Well, don't fall in love too much with the area over here, the lifestyle over here. Ado loves it. He loves going for a surf down Torquay Way and as well. But let's talk about football, mate. You've had a very, very long career. So anyone who's obviously tuning into this will be able to just feel the excitement, I guess, of what it's going to be part of the Curva Coaching program. But look, where did you start? Let's talk about your junior days. Where did you start your junior footballing days?
My first club was Brunswick City. So although I lived down on the Mornington Peninsula,
Oh, we just lost you.
I'm sort of from the Melbourne's north.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? Yep. So I started.
Absolutely.
I started my juniors at Brunswick City. Although I live down on the Mornington Peninsula, I'm actually from Melbourne's north. So I started at Brunswick City, worked my way around a few clubs, Green Gully, Kilo Park, and finished off at Heidelberg and Moreland Zebras before I ended up going to Victory into the youth team.
Yeah. Being part of it, those in the early days, Victory, the A-League, and obviously and all of that kind of stuff. Pretty exciting stuff. Now, you kind of joined around about 2013. Pretty much when the A-League was at its heyday, wasn't it? Crowds were big. The atmosphere was fantastic. What was it like to step into the professional kind of scenario back then?
Yeah, it was a big jump. I just come out of VPL, where the pace and physicality and just style of play just was nowhere at the level that the A-League was. And I got signed into the youth team at Victory, but I got thrust straight into the first team. So I'm sure Ado will tell you I copped it pretty hard the first few months, but I found my feet and haven't looked back since.
No, you certainly have found your feet. 40 games of Victory, further 46 games at Newcastle Jets, and then you came back to Victory in 2019 for another 22 games, and since then you played well over 100 games at Melbourne City. But you've also had a couple of stints overseas, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I spent after my first stint at Victory, I spent a year in Malaysia, and then came back and spent another 2 years in Japan.
Mm-hmm. How was that, culturally and football-wise?
Amazing, absolutely amazing. One of the best experiences I've ever had, and living in a country like that is, truly a spectacular experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, going back, I guess, from when you started seriously taking football, probably, I guess, in your teens, and then transitioning into senior football. For a lot of the kids that you'll be coaching, obviously, at the clinic, they're going to be a lot younger than that, but that's probably something that they'll be looking to in years to come. Going back and sort of looking at your younger self, what words of advice would you give to kids, who are 11, 12, 13, sort of thinking about, yep, that's the career path I'd love to do? What are some of the things, what are some of the tips that you would give them at this point of time in their career?
Well, exactly what they're doing on Wednesday. I would be finding something like Curva coaching, something to fill in the days when you're not at your club. The more training that you can do, the better. A perfect example is Kobe Bryant used to talk about how he used to train more times in a day, more than anyone else, and that's how he got to his best. And something like Curva gives you the opportunity to develop further outside of your club, because clubs only train twice a week. So kids at 12, 13, 14, now they're being looked at as academy prospects, and you want to be getting as much development in as possible, safely. Of course, I'm not telling people to go train 12 hours a day, but something like curver coaching can really help and develop you further than what your club will.
And what drew you to Curver? What was that about Curver that really resonated with you, that you were happy to take a guest coaching stint there?
Well, like I said, Ado's a really good friend of mine, and I've seen how well he coaches the kids there, and the proof's in the numbers. Every camp that he's had, he gets really good numbers, really good engagement from the kids, and he keeps it really fun and light for the kids. But he's a great developer of skills, and like I said, the proof's in the pudding. He's packed out every holiday camp, so I didn't really have to look any further than that.
Yeah, no, we had him on the show a few weeks back, and during the Victorian Junior Country Championships that were held here in Geelong, and it was a staggering figure that he said, something like 66 kids that have gone through the Curver program were represented at that junior championships that were playing in various rep teams. And this year, unlike any other year, the success has been incredible. I think there was 6 teams out in Geelong that won the competition. 13, all 13 teams qualified for the semis. So it really does tell you, as you said, the proof is in the pudding. That's for sure. Andrew, let's talk about the A-League at the moment. You're in the A-League. Like I said, you were there when it was the things were going gangbusters, massive crowds. Active support. You had a stint up in Newcastle where the squadron's very, very popular and all that. In recent years, the numbers seem to have dropped a little bit, apart from obviously the New Zealand teams doing very, very well. How do you see what needs to be done at the moment in the A-League for things to go, maybe return to the good old glory days? We've got the World Cup. There's a lot of success with the Socceroos. They're doing really well. Yep. So obviously things are going for us there. What more could be done in your opinion?
Well, I think the league itself needs to make a conscious effort to really engage in the active support. The active support are more often than not what make atmospheres and games so enjoyable. The quality of football's there. We've seen it in recent years where teams are playing unbelievably in the A-League. There's so many goals scored and the entertainment's really high. But without that atmosphere, people aren't going to want to come to games. They can watch it on TV, where they're going to experience essentially, a similar atmosphere at home. There's not much going on. I think in recent years they've done a lot to sort of restrict active areas, which I get it from a safety point of view, but we need to let active areas be active. We need to let them come and use their voices, and
yeah.
I don't want it to be a lazy reason why active support is restricted. Because we don't want to hire extra security, or we don't want to hire extra police, or we don't want to. I want the reason. I want the reason games start flowing through again the way they used to be is because the active support's going. And the active support, I've been lucky enough to be part of a lot of clubs where the active support's been absolutely amazing. Like you said, early on in the A-League, we were getting 65,000 at Marvel Stadium for a Melbourne derby.
Mm-hmm. And does it, like thinking back about those days and the moments that you've had throughout your career playing in front of loud crowds, does it give you that lift? I mean, we often hear that from players that it lifts you, but how would you describe it? Like, is it an extra adrenaline kick? Does it sort of like just give you that power, that willingness to go that extra mile?
Absolutely. Even when I'm playing in a Melbourne derby now, even though I'm getting abused for 90 minutes from the Victory fan, I love it. I
Yeah.
love that atmosphere. I love the engagement from the fans. Even though it's against me, I still love it.
Yeah.
I said it early on in the year when we played Adelaide United away. If every club in the league had Adelaide United's support, especially at home games,
Yep.
we'd be far better off as a league. And they do a brilliant job down at Cooper Stadium to fill out the stadium every week, to really get behind their team. And I just think, especially with the World Cup now, and given everything you see in Melbourne and how many supporters are getting around it, I've said it in a lot of interviews that I've done in the previous week or two, that I wish it wouldn't be every 4 years. I wish everyone would get behind the A-League
Yeah.
just as much as they get behind the Socceroos. And I understand in this country that, AFL is a big sport and NRL is a big sport, but it doesn't have to be us against them. We do a terrible job in this country of making it us against them. It's not us against them. We can coexist. We play at different times of the year. And a perfect example of that is in America. They have NFL, baseball,
Yep.
basketball, all the sports that you could, MLS, and everyone supports it because they love sport. But in this country, we've made it us against them, and that's never going to help anyone.
Yeah, no, you're well said. Absolutely fantastic. Well said. Preseason training starts very shortly, so you'll be back into it, won't you? You won't have much time for anything else after that?
No, I've had a good break. I've had a decent break, a good refresher. I took the family overseas, and now I'm back training. Getting ready for hopefully another A-League season. Preseason's the longest preseason in world football history in Australia. So we've got the hard work for long enough here.
It is. It's a massively long pre-season. But in the meantime, there are the details of the Curva holiday camps. I'm sure if you give Adrian Leia a buzz there's a number there, 0474 739 451, curva.com.au, or admin Geelong at curva.com.au. That's happening, the holiday camps. And then before you know it, term 3 will start, the Performance Academy, all of the other usual stuff there as well. But go on to curva.com.au. You'll find all the details there. As far as the holiday camps, Geelong was held today on tomorrow, and then Wednesday when Andrew will be there, and then next week it's in Torquay. Another special guest, another former Socceroo who's going to be a part of this will be Mitch Langerak, who has got family down on the Bellarine Peninsula. And this is going to be on the Friday, July the 10th. So that's next week down at Torquay. So he's going to have a very, very special clinic for all of the soccer, all the goalkeepers there as well. So, gosh, we are lucky. We are blessed down here in Geelong. Well, I should say the kids down here are blessed to have two fantastic former Socceroos joining us. 3. We've got to throw Ado in the pack as well. We can't forget him. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in action down here in Geelong on Wednesday, and all the best for the upcoming A-League season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Good on you. Andrew Naboot, former Melbourne Victory, Newcastle Jets, and current Melbourne City player, and he's an electrifying player to watch. We certainly hope he has a great season coming up this year. We're going to take a short break, folks, and when we return, we'll continue with tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show, that very special school holiday edition. And folks, that brings us to the very end of this week's episode. We hope you really, really enjoyed tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. There was something for absolutely everyone. We're going to go back to where we started, and we do need a sponsor. It's probably a little bit too late to have a major sponsor, but at the moment, this is episode 17. We've got enough for another 3 more episodes, which will probably take us, through to almost the end of July, yet the season doesn't finish until September. We would love to see out the season. We would love to get to at least 25 episodes, which will take us through to our 200th episode. And as a result, we are seeking advertising sponsors for as little as $100 an episode. for a minimum of 5 episodes. That's just $500. So there's one more day left of the financial year. If you're looking to get rid of some money before the end of the financial year, or you're starting the new financial year and you've got a little bit of money in the advertising kitty, this is the time to act. So send us you can contact us via our Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube platforms. Also, you can send us an email to community, here we go, right down the bottom now, communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. That's communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. We certainly hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. We look forward to having your company again next Monday night. Go Socceroos, we forgot to mention that. Yep, this Saturday morning at 4 o'clock, it's going to be a massive, massive game against Egypt. Go Socceroos. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.